Good morning and glad to have you join us on News Bites live broadcasts. It's Wednesday, the 18th of October 2017, and it's a pleasure to bring you this news broadcast every morning. We go around the nation, we bring you topical issues, and then we serve you fresh and robustly on this channel. It's News Bite. So we have the package for you this morning, but as is our custom, I would ask that you give me a few moments so I can share it on my timeline. And we appreciate those who always share. They click the share button and they share it on their platforms. It's always a pleasure, and we appreciate that. So give me a moment. Let me share this on my timeline. I'm almost even done here. You also can do the same. It gets the word around, and people can be informed. Your friends on Facebook can be informed of things happening around them, and it helps us to make informed decisions because we are well informed. So I've shared on my timeline. You also can do the same. Now we can go on and have our news served fresh to you. President Muhammadu Buhari on Tuesday signed the University of Petroleum Resources Bill with a pledge to continue to support the socio-economic development of the Niger Delta region. The president made the pledge while signing the bill to establish University of Petroleum Resources Eforo Delta State into law at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. Buhari appealed to communities in the region to strive for peace through dialogue and resolving all conflicts, not only among them but also with business entities and authorities. With the signing of the bill into law, the path has now been cleared for the establishment of the specialized university in the Niger Delta. The institution will be charged with training and research in petroleum technologies. President Muhammadu Buhari has commended the National Assembly for reviewing the country's budgeting process, noting, however, that fiscal conflicts between the executive and the legislature is traditional. Buhari gave the commendation at the Summit on Intergovernmental Interparty Relations and Budget Reform Process for Sustainable Development in Nigeria, organized in Abuja by the Institute for Legislative Studies. The president, represented by Senator Udoma, the Minister of Budget and National Planning, called for more collaboration between both arms of government while restating commitment to building the nation's economy and bringing development to the people. He said that the provision and modernization of infrastructure, especially railway system, roads, and power across the country is a priority for the administration. The reason why the executive proposed a 2.18 trillion naira budget for 2017 with 30% expenditure on public projects. He called on the National Assembly to partner with the executive to further reduce existing inefficiencies in public expenditures and raise non-oil revenue while also fighting corruption. He added that constructive relationship among the three arms of government is essential to effectively maintain the Constitution and the rule of law. President Muhammadu Buhari Tuesday in Abuja expressed concern on the growing complaints and agitations by workers in states over unpaid salaries and allowances in spite of interventions by the federal government. I quote the president, and he says, "How can anyone go to bed and sleep soundly when workers have not been paid their salaries for months?" Buhari told a meeting of select governors under the aegis of the Governors Forum in Abuja. The governors were led by the chairman of the Nigerian Governors Forum, Abdul Aziz Abubakar Yari. President Buhari at the meeting, which was held at the State House, said the plight of workers in the states need urgent attention as many could barely survive. The president told the governors that 2 out of the 3-pronged focus of the ruling All Progressives Congress to secure the country and fight corruption has received some commendable reviews by the people, noting that the challenge in payment of salaries in states has taken its toll on the people. President Buhari said the federal government and state executives would need to work closer together to ameliorate the situation of workers across the country. The president said he has instructed all government agencies to comply with the Treasury single account in order to ensure more transparency and prudence in accounting for the revenues of the government and sharing of entitlements. with states. In his remark, the chairman of the Nigeria Governors Forum said the various interventions by the federal government, which include bailouts, were judiciously utilized by the states, stressing that the governors inherited backlog of unpaid salaries and huge debt portfolios on assumption of office. Governor Yari also requested the president to release 50% of the Paris Club loan refund so that the funds can be built into the 2018 budgets of state governments. He also said that they are concerned with the situations in the state and are trying their best to manage the resources. Governors of Ondo, Bauchi, Jigawa, Kwara, Akwa Ibom, and the deputy governor of Ebonyi State were part of the visit to the president. President Muhammadu Buhari should be on his way to Istanbul, Turkey today, Wednesday, to participate in the 9th summit of the Organization for Economic Cooperation, that's the D8, slated for October 20. Femi Adesina, the special advisor to the president on media and publicity, said this in a statement issued in Abuja yesterday. According to the statement, prior to the D8 summit, President Buhari, at the invitation of President Erdogan of Turkey, will participate in an official working visit to Ankara, the capital city. While in Ankara, the president will have a discussion with his Turkish counterpart, while delegations from both countries would hold discussions on various fields, including defense cooperation, security, education, and migration issues. Additionally, revealed that the president will use the occasion of the D8 summit to bolster warm and growing ties across a broad range of areas of cooperation with leaders of the D8 member countries. The president will be accompanied on the trip by ministers, top government officials, including the Comptroller General of the Nigeria Customs Service, Hamid Ali. Members of D8 are Bangladesh, Egypt, Indonesia, Iran, Malaysia, Nigeria, Pakistan, and Turkey. The Nigeria Customs Service has justified its recent raids of automats across the country, saying the exercise is in line with extant laws. Customs also challenged any auto dealer who bribed any customs officer before getting their vehicles cleared to come forward and name the officer, saying such officer will not only be dismissed but would also be prosecuted. PRO of the service, Joseph Atta, said the recent raid of car shops is in line with Section 147 of the Customs and Excise Management Act, which empowers it to search shops suspected to be having smuggled items. He disclosed that over 3,000 vehicles have been seized across the country between January and now. Some auto dealers have been grumbling over alleged rip-off and harassment by officers of the customs who raided their shops in commando style in search of smuggled vehicles. However, the customs spokesman who justified the action said the raid was to ascertain the genuineness of vehicles displayed at car shops, if they were imported through the approved route, and if the right duty has been paid. According to him, many of the importers came through unapproved routes. He said any vehicle imported through unapproved routes is a smuggled one. He stressed that no customs officer will disturb an importer who has done the right thing, even as he denied allegations of extortion leveled against the officers and men of the service. Senate yesterday passed a unanimous resolution demanding the removal of Babatunde Fashola as power minister to address the challenges facing the sector. The resolution followed a motion on the challenges facing the power sector in the country, sponsored by Senator Mustapha Bukar from Katsina. The Senate requested President Muhammadu Buhari to appoint a separate minister for the Ministry of Power and allow Fashola continue piloting the affairs of works and housing. The resolution on the split of the ministry was sequel to an additional prayer by the Deputy Chief Whip of the Senate, Francis Alimihema, and seconded by Deputy Minority Chief Biodun Olujimi. The senator said the ministry under the supervision of Fashola is usurping the duties of power-related agencies, thus hindering the request of the federal government to improve power generation and supply in the country. The Senate has summoned the Minister of Solid Minerals, Dr. Kayode Fayemi, to brief it on Nigeria's mining policy, implementation framework, and protection. The minister is also expected to brief the upper chamber on how the ministry intends to ensure protection of the residents of mining host communities against lead poisoning and other hazards. This followed the resolution of the Senate sequel to a motion by Senator Oluwa Mayomikun from Lagos and 4 other senators. She said that the Senate received with great distress updates on lead poisoning, which occurred in 36 villages and communities in Zamfara State, and also mining host communities in states like Kogi and Niger affected by the negative effects of mining practices. In his remarks, the Deputy President of the Senate, Ike Ekweremadu, who presided over the plenary, said that the Senate must pursue its mandate by putting things right. After the debate, the lawmakers mandated the Committee on Environment and Solid Minerals to visit the affected communities to ascertain the level of damage done and report back. The Senate further directed the committee to investigate the activities of the Ministry of Environment as it affected the mining sector. The upper chamber equally urged the minister to ensure adoption of safer mining methods by mining concerns. House of Representatives has called for effective implementation of programs to tackle extreme poverty. The call was sequel to unanimous adoption of an urgent motion of national importance moved by Representative Mohammed Wudil, that's from Kano, at plenary. Moving the motion, Liam Wudil said UN General Assembly passed a resolution which adopted October 17th as International Day for the Eradication of Poverty. He said the 25th anniversary of the resolution is a wake-up call for governments across the world to rise up to the challenges of providing basic necessities of life. According to him, UN report on Nigeria's Common Country Analysis published in 2016 describes the country as one of the poorest. The lawmaker said the report showed that over 80 million Nigerians, or let's say 64% of the country's population, live below $1.9 a day. After contributions from members, the House urged government to promote the establishment of small and medium enterprises and to ensure the achievement of sustainable development goals, that's the SDGs. Former Speaker of the House of Representatives, Right Honorable Gali Umar Naaba, has said that Nigeria has been having accidental leaders in the commencement of the Fourth Republic in 1999. Naaba, who served as Speaker of Lower Legislative Chamber from 1999 to 2003, called on more Nigerians to participate in politics with a view to opening up the political space. He stated this in Abuja at the 2016-2017 Matriculation and Fellowship Endowment Ceremony of the National Institute for Legislative Studies and the University of Benin postgraduate program. He expressed regrets that leadership recruitment process in the country has been hijacked by a few politicians. The former speaker advocates for regular tutorials for political leaders at all levels. On his part, the Speaker, House of Representatives, Right Honorable Yakubu Dogara, said the National Assembly has made appreciable efforts in fulfilling its democratic obligations to Nigerians by paying particular attention to capacity building. Dogara explained that parliamentary capacity development is important to ensure balance of power among the branches of a democratic system. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo has affirmed his non-partisan statesmanship, declaring that as a well-cultured person, he will not go back to his vomit by returning to the People's Democratic Party, PDP. Obasanjo, who spoke with Newsmail when the chairman, National Caretaker Committee of the PDP, that's Senator Ahmed McAfee, visited him at his Olusegun Obasanjo Presidential Library yesterday, said, I quote him, and I quote him, before I was in PDP, but now, no. They said when a dog vomits, he does not go back to eat his vomit. No. I said no partisan politics for me again, and no partisan politics for me again. But Nigeria is my passion until death do us part. And anything that concerns Nigeria, the good of Nigeria, you will see my involvement. So, chairman has come, referring to McAfee now, chairman has come to greet me, and I greet him. So, now that we have greeted ourselves, chairman will be going. You, gentlemen and ladies of the press, can now go and leave the chairman alone. You understand how Obasanjo speaks now. It will come with that, that drama. Anyway, McAfee arrived at 10 a.m. and was hosted by Obasanjo inside Owu Hall for about 40 minutes. After the private session, the chairman came out of the hall to call some members who had accompanied him, including the party's Southwest chairman, Dr. Eddie Olufeso, and immediate past interim state chairman, Sikirulai Ogundele. We'll see how that one goes. Baba is saying, I'm not going back on my decision. But, well, politics, expect anything. All right, let's go on with our stories. Mohammed Muhyiddin, the outgoing UNICEF's chief of field office for Sokoto, Zamfara, and Kebbi State, says that there is over 50% decrease in number of out-of-school children in Sokoto State. Muhyiddin made the disclosure on Tuesday at a reception organized in his honor by the Sokoto State government after the completion of his tour of duty. He said that the number of out-of-school children in Sokoto, which was the highest in the country, has dropped from 69% in 2015 to 37% this year. He also said an inspection of some projects in schools in Binje revealed a class of 48 pupils in which there were 36 girls against 12 boys, which according to him is a good development that must be sustained, while urging the government to do more, especially in the area of routine immunization, expressing optimism that the plans put together will have positive impact in the next 2 years to 4 years. Responding, Governor Aminu Tambuwa commended Muhyiddin for the commitment, passion, and dexterity he showed in the discharge of his duty while in Sokoto. Some residents of Gwagalada area Council have prevented their children from receiving polio vaccine being administered on children in the ongoing immunization in the FCT. They cited the outbreak of monkeypox in some states as their reason for preventing their children from receiving the polio vaccine. In a related development, the 32 Artillery Brigade of Nigerian Army, Akure, has debunked rumors of harmful vaccination being conducted by some people believed to be soldiers in Ondo State. There was pandemonium in primary and secondary schools in the state, which made parents and guardians to withdraw their children and wards when rumors filtered in that harmful vaccination was being administered on children. The brigade spokesman, Major Ojo Adenego, said this in a statement issued on Tuesday in Akure. I quote him now: "We're using this medium to inform the general public to disregard such information. There is no ongoing medical outreach in Ondo State. The information is the handwork of mischief makers and should be treated as such," off quote. That's Adenego. Adenego urged the general public to provide useful information on any person or group of persons behind the malicious information against the military. It will be recalled that such rumors affected schools in the southeast and south-south states, but the army has also denied any involvement in such vaccination. Well, the Sultan of Sokoto, Alhaji Saad Abubakar III, has refuted claims that vaccines for polio and some other diseases contain poisonous substances, warning peddlers of such claims to stop politicizing issues of health of innocent Nigerians. The Sultan said yesterday when he led the Northern Traditional Leaders Committee on Primary Health Care on a courtesy call on Governor Umar Tanko Al-Makura of Nasarawa State in Lafia, that he was saddened by the report in some quarters that vaccine earmarked for immunization has been contaminated to poison certain groups of people and followers of certain religion in the country. The Sultan, who doubles as the founder and grand patron of the Northern Traditional Leaders Committee on Primary Health Care, was in Lafia with other traditional rulers for the third quarter meeting on polio eradication routine immunization. He said, and I quote him, "The vaccines are not meant to kill anybody but to protect Nigerians from these communicable diseases. We will never support anything that will hurt anybody," off quote. Well, speaking, Governor Umaru Al-Makura thanked the Sultan and other members of the committee for choosing Nasarawa State to hold his third quarter meeting to deliberate on ways of protecting Nigerians from communicable diseases. That's a good one coming from, someone of his clout. Nigerian Army has arrested more than 40 suspects for various offenses within Lagos. and Ogun State during various operations on the platform of exercise Crocodile Smile 2. The Army said in a statement by the 81 Division spokesman, Lieutenant Colonel Olaolu Daudu in Lagos, that drug peddlers, cultists, car snatchers and other criminal elements have been denied freedom of action through patrols, raids, roadblocks and checkpoints. He goes on to talk of their exploits and their successes and the things that they recorded. On October 4th, based on credible information on activities of pipeline vandals at Ronick Hotel, Abule Egba area of Lagos State, troops arrested suspected pipeline vandals, and items found within the hotel premises include 16 loaded kegs of premium motor spirits, that's petrol, 5 cars, and 2 tankers loaded with PMS. The suspects have been interrogated, profiled, and handed over to the NSCDC. On October 11, troops on a stop-and-search operation arrested a car robber who snatched a Toyota Venza along Ikorodu-Shagamu Road. The suspect and the recovered vehicle has been handed over to Owutu Divisional Police Headquarters. 5 drug peddlers were also apprehended with gallons of unidentified chemical substances and Indian hemp on October 14 by troops at Agbara area of Lagos State in conjunction with men of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency. Similarly, raid and clearance operations were carried out on October 14 by troops at Ajah area, and 9 suspects were arrested with bags containing Indian hemp. The spokesman continued, reeling out the successes. 2 of the suspects were alleged to have snatched a female purse containing Samsung Galaxy and Itel phones, Bible house keys, and 1,200 naira, which were also recovered. It's still an achievement. The spokesman also said another raid operation was carried out by troops at Ikodo, Ikeja area, where 5 suspects were arrested, and items recovered include 4 generators, 4 laptops, scanning machine, color printer, 3 stabilizers, 10 UPS, 3 car chargers, and 16 handset stands. The suspects and exhibits have been handed over to the Lagos State Special Task Force, Ushudi. On October 15, the Commander Sector 3 of exercise called Crocodile Smile 2 handed over 36 suspects arrested by troops of the sector during a raid at criminal hideout and notorious drug dens in Ikorodu area. That should interest you if you remember the Bado issue. So maybe that accounts for the high number of suspects, arrested there. Daudu also disclosed that 4 suspected cult members were arrested at Rolex Hotel in Nigeria. It went on and on and on, and so many things that they've done so far during the operation. Meanwhile, Lagos State Commissioner of Police Ejal Imohimi on Tuesday destroyed hard drugs worth more than 50 million naira at Ojota. Shortly before the exercise, Imohimi told journalists at the Ojota dump site that the destruction of the hard drugs marks the beginning of the move by his command to rid the state of the activities of drug peddlers. He said the exercise is to clamp down on drug peddlers and also to assure members of the public that youths will no longer have access to hard drugs, noting that hard drugs fuel crime and deviant behaviors. I quote him and he says, amongst the hard drugs to be destroyed is codeine, which is supposed to be a cough syrup. Codeine can be gotten easily at any pharmacy shop, which makes it very worrisome. We hereby urge all pharmacists to sell the cough syrups only to those with doctor's prescription, he said. Imohimi added that the police is partnering with different groups, especially the student union government, not only to fight cultism, but to put an end to sales and consumption of hard drugs in the state. The police had on October 5 recovered 38 bags of cannabis sativa worth 20 million naira during a raid on suspected hideouts in Akala, Mushin areas of the state. The command also arrested nearly 52 suspects during the raid, which was preceded by reports of a clash in the area where more than 150 cars were vandalized. Police command in Plateau said it has deployed more armed personnel to the area of the state where that were recently attacked by gunmen. The command spokesman, Tana Teopev, disclosed this while addressing newsmen in Jos yesterday. According to Teopev, The command deployed 3 units of armed mobile policemen to forestall any reoccurrence of the incident in the area. The spokesman also said that there has been a joint aerial surveillance of the affected communities between the police and the Nigerian Air Force. He said no arrest has been made, but assured that investigations are ongoing to unravel the perpetrators of the heinous crime. He appealed to the inhabitants of the affected communities and other communities in the state not to take the law into their hands, but to support and cooperate with the security agencies to bring the situation under control. You may recall that natives of Incha village of Basa local government area were on September 16 thrown into mourning as attackers killed over 20 persons there. Also, 6 persons were killed and over 10 houses destroyed in the early hours of Sunday at Taigbe village, and 29 others were also killed and many injured while taking refuge in a primary school in Keye Doro in the same locality. As part of efforts to stem overseas medical tourism by Nigerians, the Lagos State University Teaching Hospital, Ikeja, says it will soon begin full cardiac surgery. The Chief Medical Director, Professor Adewale Oke, told newsmen on Tuesday in Lagos that the teaching hospital is striving to be the hub of qualitative healthcare delivery in Nigeria. Oke said that with the world-class facilities available in the teaching hospital, it is set to stand without any assistance from overseas as regards surgery. That's good news. Federal High Court sitting in Abuja has ordered Senator Eyinaya Abaribe and 2 other sureties to produce secessionist Nnamdi Kanu, who has been on trial for alleged treason. The senator and 2 others stood as sureties for the bail of the leader of indigenous people of Biafra, who was granted bail on health grounds. The other sureties are Emmanuel Madu and Tochukwu Uchendu. Trial Judge Justice Binta Nyako on Tuesday gave the order when Ifeanyi Ejiofor counsel to Kanu told the court he could not decipher the whereabouts of his client. Kanu, whose bail was perfected by the voluntary endorsement of the 3 sureties, failed to appear in court to stand his trial. Nyako said the sureties' failure to produce Kanu will compel the court to invoke the forfeiture of their 100 million naira bail bond each. Earlier, Mohammed Labaran, the prosecuting counsel, had moved an application praying the court to grant a bench warrant for Kanu's arrest. He said the defendant has flouted all the bail conditions spelled out for him by the court. Counsel to Kanu, Ejiofor, objected to such application, adding that he has filed a suit against the Chief of Army Staff on the whereabouts of Kanu. Ejiofor claims that the military's invasion of his client's home on July 11 led to his disappearance, adding that the military is in the best position to tell where Kanu is. Similarly, Ogechi Ugbonna, counsel to Abaribe, moved a motion seeking court's approval for the withdrawal of his client's consent as Kanu's surety. Ugbonna said his client is not in a position to tell the whereabouts of the defendant. He further said Abaribe is no longer interested in offering his consent to serve as Kanu's surety in view of recent happenings. The judge, however, gave Ugbonna a list of options ranging from automatic forfeiture of his client's 100 million naira bail bond to time within which to still search for Kanu. Anyway, Ugbonna, that's the lawyer, having aptly received the hint of the court, selected the latter option, which is give us more time to produce Kanu. Nnamdi Kanu, Chidiebere Onwudiwe, and Benjamin Madu. Okay, let me go over that again. Nnamdi Kanu, Chidiebere Onwudiwe, Benjamin Madubugu, and David Nwawusi are standing trial on 5-count charge of conspiracy to commit treasonable felony, and publication of defamatory materials. By being absent in court as his trial resumed yesterday, the IPOB leader may well has become legally fugitive. Well, the court adjourned until November 20, 2017, a date given to the sureties to produce Kanu in court. We'll monitor and we'll see how that goes. The question is, where is Kanu? Justice Yusuf Halilu of the FCT High Court, Jabi, on Tuesday granted the application of Farouk Lawan seeking transfer of his case from Justice Angela Otaluka of FCT Lugbe High Court. The judge will now hear the case in his court from 24th of October. Halilu said that the administration of criminal justice must be followed in the interest of justice, adding that the transfer of cases from one court to the other remains the administrative power of the chief judge. Lawan's lawyer had petitioned the chief judge of FCT, Ishaq Bello, alleging bias and lack of confidence in Otaluka's court. Lawan is facing, remember Lawan now some years ago, Lawan is facing prosecution for receiving $600,000 bribe from oil mogul Femi Otedola during a probe by the House of Representatives of the scandalous oil subsidy regime during the Jonathan era. Otedola's companies, Xenon and Synopsys, allegedly paid Lawan bribes to get their names off the indictment rule of the House. Remember the cap, the money in the cap, the sting operation, we're still at it. That's what this means. Well, detained immediate past National Security Advisor Colonel Sambo Dasuki retired on Tuesday asked the Federal High Court in Abuja to suspend and adjourn indefinitely his trial on charges of illegal possession of firearms and money laundering. Arguing the application before Justice Ahmed Mohamed, Dasuki's counsel, Ahmed Raji, who is a son, asked the court to adjourn the trial indefinitely pending the hearing and determination of the former NSA's motion for stay of proceedings filed before the Court of Appeal in Abuja. Opposing the application, the prosecuting counsel, Dipo Okweseyi, described the application as an abuse of court process. Okweseyi told the court that the application was seeking stay of proceedings, although Raji attempted to cover it up by the use of flowery words. That's the much we can take today. We hope we've been able to inform you. Those are the topical issues going on around the country today. Thank you so much. Let's do this again tomorrow, but you can watch this timeline in the course of the day for breaking news, for news that we think we should bring your way, as it breaks. My name is Oluwa Mayomikun. Enjoy the rest of your day. Help us share this broadcast and join us tomorrow. Tell others and tell them to like the page as well. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye for now.